Hi everybody, welcome to this video where I want to show you how you can leverage generative AI to help you with your competitor analysis when you are building a startup. And of course, this is a crucial part of building a startup. You want to know who is the competition and how can I differentiate myself from this competition. And of course, looking for competitors is a very factual activity. You simply want to know who are existing competitors that already exist. And when we talk about factual activities, we still have the issue of what we call hallucination when using generative AI. And so what I will do in this video is to briefly explain why even today, given that we have these advanced large language models, why still today we have a huge risk of hallucination. And then I will tell you how we can actually develop a skill to avoid hallucination, and I will also show you how we can apply such a skill for a reliable competitor analysis. So let's get started. So to explain why even today we still face the risk of hallucination, I briefly have to explain how large language models can work, and actually today, to make it a bit simplistic, but just to make it clear, they can actually work in two different modes. They can work in a retrieval mode and they can work in an inference mode. And the inference mode is actually the original mode in which large language models work. So when large language models emerged, they were purely inference machines, and that means they were actually continuously predicting the next word in a sentence. So large language models were trained to be extremely good in predicting the most likely next word in the sentence, where actually they did not care about accuracy. And let me show you that with an example. So here I actually have a screenshot from one of the initial large language models that emerged in like 2022. And this model is a pure inference model. And so if I ask this model a question like, how did King Albert I of Belgium die? It gives me an answer. And so here it's saying King Albert I of Belgium died on September 17 at the age of 56. He died of a sudden heart attack while playing golf at Royal Golf Club Labot in Belgium. So this is the answer that at first sight actually looks quite reliable. However, this is a completely made up answer. This is simply an answer that this large language model inferred by predicting the next word in a sentence. Today, actually, the large language models can also work in a retrieval mode. And that means they will not provide an answer simply by predicting the next word in a sentence. They will give you an answer by first retrieving information, most of the time from the internet. So when you prompt a question, if they are in retrieval mode, the large language model will simply go to the internet, try to find reliable sources, kind of copy-paste that information to the chatbot, and then gives you an answer based on that information. So there is a kind of first step where it will simply copy-paste information most of the time from the internet. That's what we call retrieval. And of course, here the risk of hallucination becomes much lower because now it's simply copy-pasting existing information. And just to give you an example again, so nowadays when I go to one of the advanced models in ChatGPT or Claude and I ask it, how did King Albert I of Belgium die? It will give me the adequate answer. So it will tell me he died on February 17, 1934, age 58, in a climbing accident at Marche-les-Dames near Namur, which is actually the accurate example. And we can even see here that it then made here a reference to Wikipedia. So if we want to reduce the risk of hallucination when we have a factual question, it's very important that these models are in retrieval mode. Now, a problem is that large language models, both the Claude models, GPT models, are kind of trained to please you. So if you have a question, they will always do their utmost best to give you an answer. And that means if you give them a question and they go into retrieval mode and they're not able to retrieve accurate information, they actually will jump to inference mode and will kind of make up an answer by applying inference. Unfortunately, these models will not tell you that they jumped from retrieval to inference. And again, that makes it vulnerable still to hallucination. So if you have a very specific question for which it's actually difficult to retrieve information, it might still jump to inference and make up an answer. And that's exactly what we want to avoid here when we want to identify competitors. Yeah, we want to identify real competitors, not made-up competitors by a large language model. And that's why it's very important that we make sure that when we ask it to find competitors, that it stays in retrieval mode. And let me now explain you how we can actually do that. Yes, and so we can actually force large language model to stay in retrieval mode by creating a specific skill. And I already created such a skill, which I called the conservative retriever. And you will actually find a link to this skill in the description of the YouTube video. So you can actually download that skill and then upload that skill in your own environment. And so the only thing you will need to do is here to go to the plus sign and then upload from your computer, and then simply upload the file that will be in the link to your own environment, and then you can apply my conservative retriever skill. Of course, you can also create your own conservative retriever skill, but I think this is the most easy way. So let me briefly show you how it looks like. So this is my conservative retriever skill, and a skill is always simply kind of a text file describing a certain capability. And so here you can see that this is a skill to rewrite prompts to enforce strict retrieval only behavior. And so this is a skill that you can give a prompt, and then this skill will kind of adjust your prompt, pushing the large language model to stay in retrieval mode. Yeah, that's what this skill is doing. So let me now illustrate how you can use that for your competitor analysis. Yeah, so here is then the prompt. So I'm saying use the conservative retriever, that's my skill, to optimize the following prompt. And then I give it my kind of initial prompt. And here the prompt asks to engage in an in-depth competitor analysis for a startup with the following value proposition. And then I've actually given my value proposition, and in this case I give it my Triad Spark example. Yeah, so this is this startup to facilitate connections before conferences. So this is then the value proposition that I've given it. And here I've further defined what competitors exactly mean. So competitors are companies that have a similar value proposition, address similar pain points, and address similar customer segments. Yeah, so that's what I provided here as a prompt. And now my conservative retriever will actually improve that prompt. Yeah? So it will not yet give me an answer. It will actually give me a better prompt that reduces the risk of going into inference mode. So here I now get a second prompt as output. So this is a prompt, not output, that I can then use to really identify competitors, and then I can be quite assured that the risk of hallucination will be quite low. So now I can copy this prompt, and I can open a new chat, and then I can simply paste that optimized prompt into the new chat, and we can then just say show in text field. And now I can execute this more sophisticated prompt, and then, as we will see, I will get a list of competitors where I can be quite assured that the risk of hallucination is quite low. Yes, and so now my competitor analysis is finished, and it identified for me 10 credible competitors. So let's take a close look. Yeah, so it's making kind of a distinction between different competitors. Here it says step 1, so it kind of analyzed my value proposition. And then here I get an overview of the competitive landscape, and you can see here in a kind of table format, I've received quite some competitors where it also kind of has created a checklist on like, does this competitor provide a similar value proposition, similar pain points, similar customer segments, and where it kind of indicated I really found on the internet explicit evidence confirming this. Yeah, so this is kind of my table. And then I even got for every competitor a more in-depth description with clear sources of where the information was retrieved, so that I can still double check that information, because of course we need to double check whether the sources are reliable. So we have here reduced the risk of hallucination. Of course there is still a risk that there is on the internet fake information or false information, and that it retrieved that fake information. So this hallucination minimizing process with a conservative retriever is not solving the problem that there might be false information on the internet, and it will still retrieve it. So that's still something that you will have to double check yourself, but at least now we have the sources to do so. Yeah, so I hope this can help you in executing your competitor analysis in a reliable way, and thanks for your attention. Bye.